When's the next time we can work? Maybe even just this week. Yeah. Take time, put the button on. Baby, I just need direction. We been lacking that direction. Make me your selection. Let me answer all them questions. I'm tryna make my impression and give you all my affection. And no, I ain't interested in no next one. I'm tryna be invested in the best one. So make me your selection. Tell me what is left to do. I sleep better when I'm next to you. Look at you looking so delectable, and your energy incredible. Make me wanna eat my vegetables. Tell me what is you on. Oh, tell me what is you on. You live with Tucson. Since she from Arizona, Tucson. Had to make sure my cologne wasn't too strong. When I took her on a date, I used that group on. 40% up off them hotels. Ooh, ooh. Save money like my wife is Rochelle. Ooh, ooh. I'm tryna get the best of you, and you can have the best of me. Ooh, cause you got the recipe. Damn, I think I might have fucked it up. Where am I?
I've been thinking about you since the moment I seen you. Thinking about your hips, about your lips and demeanor. You got me addicted, that crack. Could you be my baby, cause baby you got back. You could pick a spot on the map, I ain't choosy. B-side walks, the hotel jacuzzi. I could be your rock, we'll wrestle and make movies. I'ma drive the getaway car, you tote the Uzi. Shoot as many shots as you need. I could take charge but still follow your lead. Tension here is thick, but it's simple to see that this moment could be the start of something supreme. You love to throw back, so my soul is relieved. And when you throw it back, know the goal's to receive. Your pole like the sight, put my vision at ease. And I don't want for much, but baby, for you I breathe. I've been trying to find my way to you, baby, send that addy, and I'll be being rude. I've been trying to find my way to you, baby, send that addy, and I'll be rude.
Like goose, go out, found my groove. Then I go out and do what I do. I'm tired of searching for a boo. I'm searching for a boo. I just need direction. We been lacking that direction. Baby, make me your selection. Let me answer all them questions. I'm tryna make my impression and give you my affection. No, I ain't interested in no next one. I'm tryna be invested in the best one. So I just need directions. I just need direction.
What's going on, gang? It's your boy Phantom Fuego, PHANTMPHUEGO, and you are tuned into the news, views, previews, and reviews with just a twist of his ghetto point of view. Ooh. Yo, I'm not gonna belabor the point, gang. We got a dope show in store. As always, any questions, comments, critiques, criticisms, you know where to tap in. And for those that don't, his ghetto point of view at gmail.com. Tell a friend. Twice a week we get into it. You know how we do it. It ain't nothing to it. We're going to talk about some real dope topics today. And I have an amazing co-host down for the ride that I'm also going to get to do a fire-ass Q&A with. I won't belabor the time. I'll let the brother introduce himself far better than I ever could. Intellectual brother, a scholar, somebody that does his research, somebody that's hip to what's going on in the community, down for his people, with the pulse of the people, and got some amazing bars, man. Amazing beat selection, high energy performer on stage, dude that can really hold a crowd, dude that can really captivate an audience and have people thinking, but also nodding because he's spitting some shit. I'm let the brother continue to give himself some flowers because I don't want to embarrass him too much. I got the dude, Youngest Toussaint, in the building. How are you, brother?
I'm good, brother. How you doing? How you doing?
Oh man, I'm very excited for this. This has definitely been a long time coming because when we tried to do the first one, they kicked us all off the internet. They was mad. They was like, "What are y'all niggas over there talking about? Cut it out." So
Let's
this is
talk about it.
definitely a blessing, man. And I so appreciate your time, man, because I know you be out here grinding like a skateboard,
Hey, I
trying to be
appreciate
into
you
so
for
many
hitting me up,
things.
bro. Definitely.
Nah, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Definitely great minds. Not only think for themselves, but we do share thoughts. So I've always wanted to connect with you and continue the conversation we was having that time, but also build on some even deeper stuff that I've been blessed to, get to see about you, see what you're doing. And the little glimpse I do have into your world, man. It's all amazing, dope things, bro. So I'm very excited for this
Appreciate
powwow,
that,
man.
bro. Yo,
Absolutely,
side note,
absolutely.
random side note. I actually,
Hmm.
I just finished some of that CBD oil that you had given me a minute ago. The
Crazy.
CBD, lemongrass, everything inside of it. I don't know if you remember, but you had gave me a little care package a while back. So I
Yeah,
definitely want
yeah,
to
yeah.
say
Absolutely,
I
absolutely.
appreciate you for
You
that.
blessed me with some
Definitely.
rides around. Absolutely, yeah.
Sir.
Hey, man, I'm happy that was able to lend any type of helping hand it could, whatever it was good for, man. We all about the healing over here, so that's fire, man. I
Yo,
appreciate
it was
that to
great for
hear
the
that.
skin too, man. It was great for the skin too.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it got the cocoa butter, the mango butter, shea, and it's all natural from the soil, nothing crazy in there. So
Right.
yeah. Shout to the wifey though. I can't take all the credit. She be helping me whip that up and stuff from scratch. So salute,
Absolutely.
salute, salute, salute over there for real. But yeah, man. How are you, brother? How are you, man?
Hey, I'm good, man. Transitioning right now is a big time. I mean, every
Mm-hmm.
time is a big time in life, right? But right now,
Facts.
I'm just now turning 25.
Mm.
Just now, had to move out of an apartment, so looking for a new space. And just in between, growing, bro, just growing and just figuring, life out, trying to get situated, get right with the music, and just trying to stay focused, bro. That's all. How's everything with you on your side? How's the family?
Good brother, family good. Thank you for asking, man. Just growing, getting better, trying to learn more day by day. All the cliche things. But I've come to realize that some of those cliches is cliches for a reason because they
In
good
real life.
positive things you should strive
Yeah.
for. That's a fact in life. So
Yeah.
yeah, man. Just day by day trying to get better, bro.
Yeah.
Just blessed, man. Everything ain't perfect, brother, but I'm in a position where I can continue to make it perfect, more perfect, and have my own vision of perfection day by day. So
That's
I
beautiful,
feel I
bro.
feel good, man. I feel in a privileged position for real. But
Nah,
yeah,
that's beautiful.
man. Um, where do we go? Where do we start with this? Where do we start? Let me dig in with some stuff real quick. So
Hmm.
for those that may not have heard the first Q&A, what made you decide to take on the manica of such a strong name of Youngest Toussaint? Or Toussaint? Am I Youngest Toussaint? I
You
I
good.
always mess up is it Toussaint, Toussaint?
Hey,
So
man, I mean, in America, everything gets shifted. I mean, when you switch cultures, you switch language, everything gets
yeah.
shifted. But, the pronunciation in Creole is Toussaint. So
Mm,
I guess Toussaint would be the closest that you would get to that. So,
okay.
shout out Snowfall. I could even be Mr. Saint, man. I mean, but
Facts.
I'm
Facts.
gonna leave that alone. But
I
nah,
like
yeah,
it.
I mean, Young Toussaint, bro. Like honestly, when I first started making music, my name was I came up with the name Berto the Real, and it
Mm,
was really because I was a big fan of Chance the Rapper at the time, and
mm,
I liked the whole the thing, and I don't know, I didn't really put too much thought in it, and I think I did one of those little like how Gambino said he did one of those little like name creator machines or whatever, and it gave me Berto the Real, and I just kept that. But after I started getting a little older and I started realizing like, what I wanted to do with music and just like what it is that I gravitated to in terms of like my content and my subject matter, I just started to realize that, I feel like I want to take myself more seriously and I want to be taken more seriously. And
mm,
I was inspired because I was really getting into understanding, like especially being Haitian, being born in America, being a Haitian American, and that duality of just, encountering so much of the diaspora, like it gave me something to tether myself to, thinking about how my mother, has gone through as much struggle as she's gone through to make it to America. She brought all three, four, well, she brought almost every single one of her siblings to America herself. She was the first one to
shout to
get out.
mom,
She's the
man.
oldest.
That's a
Yeah,
G, OG right
right.
there.
Exactly. So, just thinking about that and just, thinking about how much suffering is going on in Haiti, and then paralleling that to how much suffering is going on here, and then paralleling that to how much suffering is going on across the entire Black diaspora. It just brought me to when I learned about, Toussaint Louverture, it just taught me about, you know, having that will and that revolutionary spirit, and it just inspired me to be like, all right, well, if what's going on right now, if nothing that's going on right now and none of the music that I'm hearing is really speaking to issues that I find important, then I'll, take on that mantle. And so I feel like, long answer short, um, yeah, I was inspired, bro. It was inspiration.
Mm,
Um, and understanding the history just gave me something to really like strive towards. And so I really put the young Toussaint there to signify that I'm still growing, I'm still learning, and I'm still in my youth, but I am aspiring to be, you know, to follow in those footsteps or at least be, if not as impactful, aspire to be more impactful even,
mm.
and just understanding that them usual suspects is back at it.
Yeah, of course, of course. Yeah, we good now though, thank goodness. But
But yeah,
yeah, the last thing you were saying was that you were striving to grow and fully manifest that role. But for those that may not know, I'm sure most people know at this point, but if you wouldn't mind, brother, give us
mm,
a brief synopsis of your perspective of the history of Toussaint Louverture and his role in the Haitian Revolution and how he led the people, please.
right. Well, he was a general, dictator. Well, I can't say dictator, but he was a general, and he just basically was one of the. He wasn't the only one because you still had Jean-Jacques Dessalines. And what a lot of people don't know is that the Haitian Revolution wasn't something that happened overnight. It wasn't something that even happened over the span of 1 year, 2 year, 3 years. The Haitian Revolution was a 12-year ongoing plan that they had
Mm,
to manifest and put in motion. So the Haitian Revolution is credited as taking place on 1804, but you can go back to 1790 what two I guess that would be, and that's
mm,
when the first seeds of the Haitian Revolution was planted, and so Toussaint was just a very knowledgeable, very smart, and esteemed general. He understood, war. He understood because if I'm not mistaken, he got a lot of his learnings. He was able to, see how the French went about practicing, their own tirades and going about conquering, that part of the world. And so Toussaint was able to basically take a lot of those teachings and those concepts and apply it along with African knowledge, in the art. And this is just a credit to the Haitian people and the African people who were brought to the island that we now know as Haiti, in terms of them bringing their knowledge and just their spirituality, and using that, their understanding of the nature, to basically use guerrilla warfare, use all different types of tactics to see the revolution through. And so Toussaint created the Constitution and basically stated that Haiti would be a sovereign country, and Haiti would be the first independent republic of Black people,
Mm.
and white people were not allowed to own land at that point in time. That was one of the stipulations that he put into the Constitution. And so Toussaint was just an integral role, integral leader in the Haitian Revolution. But then you had people like Boukman,
Duddy
who came,
Bookman,
there you
absolutely.
go, who came from Jamaica, and he ended up collaborating and helping to basically join forces. And that speaks to like where we are now in terms of just how we communicate, cooperate, and collaborate as a diaspora with each other. Just how they had that common goal and they saw that through. So definitely,
Mm.
yeah, I hope that, and I'm sure that I can always do more learning. Like that's the whole thing, is I'm not an expert, and I would like to be able to say that I am, and I'm striving to be. But
Mm.
you know, general synopsis, that's who I understand Toussaint to be.
Nah, that was amazing, brother. I really appreciate that. And it's always helpful, because I sometimes I catch myself assuming that everybody might look stuff up. With us being in an information age, I
Yeah,
always be like, "Oh yeah, you probably already know that." But sometimes I gotta slow down and be like, "Nah." Even though information is available, that might not be what they is interested in looking up. You know what I'm saying?
exactly,
So I
exactly.
always try to throw a couple nuggets and gems and so
And it's
people could keep
interesting
up
you
with the
say that.
convo.
That's big.
Absolutely.
That's big,
Yeah.
bro, because that's part of like, I think that part of the thing is what we find entertaining, or we direct our interest towards, a lot of the time is not constructive for us. And
Mm.
so I think what you spoke to there is just the idea of, yeah, the information is out there, it's all out there, and sometimes it might be a little harder to get certain information than to get other information,
Come
but
on.
at the
Come
end
on.
of the day, it's there for you if you have that drive and that hunger, that passion, to inquisitive minds. If you
Mm.
are somebody who wants to learn, and you are somebody who wants that information for whatever reason that you find it can be of benefit to you, then absolutely. So I guess part of the question is, how do we get more of our brothers and sisters to be in a mindset where what they strive to go and find, or what they strive to go intake and ingest, is a lot more constructive and beneficial for them, and full of information. I do
Mm.
find that to be so. I definitely think it's interesting you say that, because in these conversations we tend to act like we all know it all. We tend to act like we know everything. And so
Yeah.
it's all about being willing and being open to learning, and just having a good, coming with a good sense of just a good sense of responsibility, and just a good sense of like, hey, it's all for the sake of us benefiting and just learning and understanding each other. At the end of the day, we're not here to argue, we're not here to debate and go, well, we can debate if you want, but all for the sake of constructive,
Constructive building. Facts. We
exactly. Ain't
trying to
no need
build
to
it
be
up.
debating. Right. So
We all trying to build it
absolutely.
up. Well said, man. Very well said. So yeah, man. To bring it a little more uh personal. Have you always been a Brooklyn resident, born and bred, or like have you lived in different parts of the country?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Flatbush, Brooklyn. Well, I was
Hey,
born,
shouts
at
to the
Brookdale
bush.
Hospital. Yeah, so I've been in Flatbush, Brooklyn, literally my entire life. I've been in Brooklyn
Mm,
my entire life. I've traveled to some degree, but I'm not the most traveled. But yeah, definitely as Brooklyn as it could get, I'd say.
mm, mm. That's what's up. That's what's up. And you're coming up in Brooklyn in an interesting time. Well, I say should say you came up in Brooklyn in an interesting time, and now you live in this time of seeing all these changes and the different people moving in, all of these transports and stuff. How do you as a native to the land um uh see all of the transplants? Like, do you see it as all positive, all negative, a balance of the two? What's your thoughts?
I think that's a great question. I honestly, for me personally, a lot of people call me a pessimist, but I don't really view it as that. I just think that I
Nah,
try
bro, you in a safe space here, please.
yeah, I just try to stay as aware and as attentive as possible. And for me, I
Mm,
look at it all as a negative.
mm,
Um, I'll give you one interesting thing that happened in front of my building, right? That
mm,
I grew up in my entire life. So, city bikes, right?
yeah.
In front of my building, there has always been, a good amount of parking spots, down the block because it's residential parking.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, and I'm talking about probably about last month, um, I guess the city decided that they would put some city bikes. Excuse me. They decided that they would put some city bikes, like a city bike dock location, right in front of my building, right in front of
Mm,
that building, and basically removed about, I want to say, 6 to 8 parking spots, right,
mm,
to do that. And directly across the street, however, there was a fire extinguisher that they could have, put it onto as well, but they decided, I guess, it just made more sense. And also for access to the fire extinguisher, whatever the case is, they decided to put it where the residential parking was. And so all I viewed that as was knowing me as a driver, right? The
mm-hmm.
amount of tickets that I've caught not having a parking spot already on that block. I can only imagine, especially in a majority black neighborhood that is undergoing gentrification right now and undergoing constant change right now. I can only imagine how many people are going to be receiving parking tickets because you've removed about 6 to 8 parking spaces, right?
Mm.
Outside of that, how much more difficult, how much more stressful that can be for residents in the area to
To
try to
just find
find
a
parking
park.
because
Yeah.
right, and that's not the only block. And then
Mm.
now if we're talking about having to walk to the parking spot, and having to walk to and from your car, depending on where you end up parking it. If you park it 2, 3 blocks down, how much more stress and how much more of an impact that can have on the residents versus, you know, for the 25 years that I've been living there haven't been any, there was never a city bike, dock there. So I can only imagine why, as rent is starting to increase and as people are starting to
Skyrocket.
get pushed out of their apartments, I can only imagine why now, they start putting city bikes there, especially with Prospect Park there, things of that nature. So that's just an example of
Mm.
some of the things that I'm noticing, even just the tiniest differences that have such a big impact, that we don't necessarily think all the way through. And
Mm.
even who knew that that was going to happen, right? Like if you live in a neighborhood, you go to work and all you do is, you work, you come home, you work, you come home. And then one day you wake up and 6 to 8 parking spaces are gone. It's like, who did the
That's a lot.
community, is there a part of the community that the city has to come to do they feel like they even have to say anything to any of the residents in the area, or do they just look at it as, hey, this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do? And then the
Mm.
financial incentive, right? These tickets that they're getting are parking tickets that you have to pay. So
Come
now the
on.
city is getting paid off of, putting these city bikes in an impoverished community and pushing people out. So it's so much that's why I just look at these things as just like an overall net negative for
Mm,
black people, but it's definitely a positive for those who are venturing out into these new environments and looking at it as just like a tourist, location. They
mm,
changed the name of the area to Little Caribbean now. It was
mm.
never designated as Little Caribbean, although there have always been,
A
all
huge
different
Caribbean
levels
influence to it, of
right,
course, of
always.
course.
But within the past 5 years, they've designated that as Little Caribbean. Even the apartment that I lived on, I mean, the apartment I lived in, the block that it was on Rogers and Nostrand. They've actually named Toussaint L'Ouverture street or road or avenue,
Mm,
right? So they're doing this renaming, this Little Caribbean, this Little Haiti. Even when you're on the train, you'll hear it, and so I can only think of who that's meant for,
of
because you don't
course.
have to tell the people who are in those neighborhoods what their neighborhood is, because that's
Mm,
their neighborhood. So
facts.
you're doing that to market it to other people who are not
Very
of that
well said.
community to come to that community. So yeah, to answer your question, bro, I look at it all as a negative, because I just
Mm,
don't see how black people are benefiting from that, especially black people who are already, struggling as it is and already in these environments. I don't see
mm.
how any of that is a benefit to us.
Wow, brother, you mic drop, bro. Absolute mic drop. Yeah, they doing the same thing downtown Brooklyn, bro. Like I grew up in Fort Greene area, and now it's called Avalon Gardens, and they're
Mm,
putting up all these high rises. You know what I'm saying? And
mhm,
there's all these fires that have been magically happening up and down Myrtle Avenue, and it's
mm.
crazy up and
And
down Fulton
I've
Street.
been seeing, hearing a lot of that, and I've just been wondering, like, is that just people that I never really thought about that, honestly. I never really thought too deeply about how frequently I am seeing these fires happening, and just like what the who's is it just naturally an accident? Are these fires accidents, or are these people who are thinking about property values and thinking about all the different types of financial incentives for making these things happen? So
A
that's
match to
interesting.
drop somewhere. Facts. It's
That's
crazy,
interesting.
bro.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's like I feel it's like the same thing they did to Harlem a couple years ago, when all them old folks didn't want to sell their brownstones. And
Yeah.
they always figure in unfortunately they always figure in some type of way
Yeah.
to
and
get the
and
properties that they want. Manifest destiny on steroids.
absolutely. The Barclays Center, they had eminent domain, all types of
Bro,
different things to move
that whole
people out.
situation was disgusting. Bringing in
Yeah.
Bruce Ratner and the Bruce Ratner crew, because I grew up in the fort, bro. So like when Bruce Ratner and all them Chinese folks came through, they straight told us at the housing meetings, yo, when we bought it, they told us y'all wasn't gonna be here no more.
What?
When we bought it, when we bought Fort Greene in Metro Tech area, they told us that you guys were gonna be moved out already.
Wow. Wow.
And then if you notice that same summer, bro, when Bruce Ratner and them took over Metro Tech, that was when all of those massive police raids started happening in Fort Greene. And they did that
Wow.
big raid and they got everybody who had any charges pending up out. And they changed the rule that if anybody on your lease had any type of drug related charges, you could no longer get a lease.
Wow.
So many old ladies lost their cribs because they might have had their nephew, grandson,
Right,
or
right, right.
godson staying at the crib, and yeah, bro, they use that
Wow.
to get
And
a
that speaks to the
bunch of
way,
people up
yeah,
out of there.
that speaks to how they try to, it's always a matter of just finding different methods and different ways to flush us out, and just to specify and designate it. And it's just more covert now. So if you're not listening or paying attention a little too deep, then you won't notice who that's meant to target and who it's
Come
not.
on,
When you think about who is most likely going to be persecuted for drug charges, if that's the case, who's over policed. The people who are over policed are most likely going to be the people who, and if they look like us, then that's your answer. So that's crazy. That's crazy right there,
it's
bro.
crazy. Yeah, they say that was even a part of the not to belabor the point, but they say Who's the young girl who was an EMT worker and her boyfriend was living at the crib and they came shooting in the crib?
Oh,
I can't remember the sister's
Breonna
name right now.
Taylor.
I'm so sorry.
Breonna Taylor.
Breonna Taylor.
Yeah.
There was a whole thing that came out that the new housing companies and complexes and the construction companies were down with the mayor's office and the I don't know if it would be aldermen in that type of area, but if it was councilmen or aldermen, and the long and short of it was, bro, the construction companies got with the police, got with the aldermen and the city councils, and that's how those warrants got written to kick in them doors.
Oh wow.
Because
And
they
it's
was
all about
saying they were just targeting people to get them up out of there. These new megalithic management companies that have no face and are just, you know, a bunch of number crunches looking 50 years out to what the city going to be and how much bread they can make. You know, they
go
just
that white supremacy, bro, and there go that's that information that we need to go and get, because just like we was talking about earlier, that's where, you know, as much as we might not be wanting to, you know, we don't find nothing entertaining or fun about, you know, learning about certain things. They looking at it like, hey, if we can gather as many resources and get as much information, I need you running point on this, doing surveillance here. I need you to give me the figures for this neighborhood and this area and let me know what the total income is for this year or that year and what it's going to look like and what population is. Those are two like drastic differences on two completely different sides of that pole. You
come
feel
on,
me? So that's where I do think that it's so much more important that, you know, I make sure that I'm going as ham as I do on Facebook
come
sometimes.
on,
You know
bro,
what I mean? Because
absolutely,
it's like
absolutely.
we having certain conversations that are just light years away from what these people are doing in real time right now. You know,
Bro,
and
and at
that's
the
what.
same time, we bogged down. They, like you said, they measuring and they measuring, they calculated,
Exact,
adding it
pinpoint,
up.
precise, everything, everything. And that's interesting because, you know, even as a kid, like growing up, I always wondered, like when it come to money, you know, like even businesses that make money, it's like, okay, you made a certain amount of money, so why you can't use that? You know, why?
Mm,
All right, you made a profit of XYZ. All right, let's say the company, I made a profit of 500, right? Why you can't take the 500? But understanding how these corporations work and just all of the different information that is most likely out there for us, but we just aren't even in environments that necessitate or inspire us to seek that information because we don't see
come
it as
on.
any value for us. Like how they reallocate resources. Like for me, I'm working at the Garden right now. You know, I'm working
Mm,
at MSG, you know, as a Knicks fan as well. So I
that's
had to
fire.
make my way in there, and I mean, but I'm just seeing the intricate workings of everything and just seeing how, you know, it's a code. Like
Mm,
The great brother Neely Fuller says, it is a code. White supremacy operates in a codified manner. So it's almost not even almost, it is automatic. You know, there's not much thought that needs to be put into it because it just works that way. When we have these conversations about how people talk about the prison system, mass incarceration, and how, you know, the system is broken, and some people are saying no, the system is working the way it's supposed to be working. Like that's a code, you know, a system is a code. And so
mm,
with all of these things, they got that codified, they got these neighborhoods codified, they got us codified in terms of how we move. I think of how I operate and what it is that they could be doing or have done, not could be, but even have done already, you know, that puts me in
mm,
environments where we having this conversation right now in the first place because we're recognizing what it is that is affecting our community. And so we need to strategize and we need to counteract that with a code. And, you know, reading is
very well
important.
said.
Reading is important, but you know, it's not where
So
everybody at right now.
so important, bro. So important, man. It's so important, man. And I feel like sometimes we get taken away from those things intentionally. But you know, I'm sure you be peeping that too.
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
yeah, brother. What I would like to do now, I will let's transition for a bit. I want to bring up some news stories, and I would love to go back and forth with you about them. The first ones I'm gonna do some lighthearted joints, some NBA stories if you don't
That's
mind.
fire, bro. That's really dope.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Cool. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. All right.
That's tough. I say it's also tough too because, like, yo, you know, I actually put a few videos out on YouTube. I did like 3 little reaction videos or whatnot to like some stuff that I seen some, you know, white YouTubers reacting to Dr. Umar and whatnot.
Hey.
So I just felt like I had to, you know, step in the ring real quick. But I think it's dope that, you know, you're facilitating and running this, you know, running your own podcast and running it the way that you would like to. Oh
Trying
wow!
good, brother. I appreciate that, man.
Thank you. You gonna stay?
Hey, that's what's up. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate the kind words. But here,
Nah,
let me see.
absolutely.
Let me share this with you real quick.
I thought you said there was mail.
There's mayo.
Oh,
There's no honey mustard.
okay.
I didn't put ketchup. I don't know if you wanted ketchup.
Oh wow.
Cool.
Marvelous.
So I'm sure you saw the draft lottery the other day, and you saw that the Spurs. Well, if you didn't, the Spurs won the #1 pick, and you know everybody's projecting that they're gonna take the France-born Victor Wembanyama, who's like what 7 foot 1,000. I'm not.
Yeah.
He's insanely tall.
Yeah.
And you know plays like a guard, can dribble, pass, shoot, but also can block, rebound. They're saying if everything goes well, he'll be a combination of Kevin Garnett and Tim Duncan with some KD range on him. So I've seen the kid personally go to work in a bunch of different games. I'm very impressed with the level of game he had at a 16, 17-year-old. And I think under Greg Popovich or whoever takes over for Pop, that the ceiling for this kid is very high. What's your thoughts on Wemby so far, or Victor Wembanyama so far?
Wemby is he's a different breed, bro. For me, it's interesting though. I think it's very interesting that you asking me this question too as a Knicks fan. You know, watching another unicorn, one of the other unicorns, just like KD, that was supposed to you know, formulate and end up being a Dirk 2.0 or being a lot of comparisons. They gave him a lot of comparisons, but Porzingis, right? For me, I'm also just not somebody who hops on the hype train too quickly.
Okay.
I will say I think Wemby definitely has all 3 levels and probably another one just because of how tall he is. He can dunk the ball without even jumping. Like there's a lot defensively. He's crazy. He can move on his feet. I seen him give Gobert. I was watching him give Gobert some buckets when he was 16 yesterday. Actually, I was rewatching that video. But yeah, I definitely think it's all about it panning out and just his ability to stay healthy. Because I think that especially with what's going on with Zion right now, you're
Come on.
noticing how, you know, the rigors of the NBA are different than any other league. You know, what they demand of you and what they ask of you, especially if you're gonna have a long career. You know, we think of people like Yao Ming, and just like really tall players in general.
Very hard. Greg
It's
Oden.
very hard. Greg Oden, even Embiid right now. Embiid is he's had a troubled history, you
Keep
know,
staying. Yeah.
but
Very
I
much so.
definitely think though if he can, because I do believe that there's people and players who are just built like that and like a LeBron, right? And they just have that type of durability where it don't look like they really lose much of a step and they just don't really, they're Iron Man, even a Julius Randle, regardless of how New York feels about him right now.
Nah, shout to Julius, man. He been
Shout
killing,
out
man.
Julius. Yeah, that's my
Thanks,
boy,
man.
man. You know, shout out Julius. But that being said, you just have people who are just durable and built like that. And if he's built like that, then the NBA is in for they in for a lot. I do think what I will say is interesting about it though is the whole Greg Popovich thing. To me, it just feels a lot. A lot of people were saying that they feel like this lottery could have potentially been rigged or whatever the case is, especially just because of how these things work out. It's interesting to me that the Spurs have a horrible season, but it makes sense because that's how the lottery works. If you
Facts.
are one of the worst teams in the NBA, you got a great chance of getting that number one pick. So, I think it's interesting that he's gonna, be drafted by the Spurs, especially with Tony Parker having been there, Mono Ginobili, some Euro players who
A
have
lot
made
of
it
French players was there.
international
Absolutely.
players.
Boris Diaw from back in the day was there.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
definitely, yeah, I think if anything, that's the one of the greatest, if not the greatest places that he could have landed in the
Facts. The
NBA.
Spurs seem to do well with foreign players.
Right.
They Mono Ginobili. I mean, the list goes on and on. But
Hey,
yeah,
if
man,
he
you
ball
absolutely
out,
right.
bro, we even could be talking about them being in the playoffs next year with how bad of if he's as good as he's looking, then we could even be talking about them being in the playoffs, having a complete 180 just by next year because they still got some solid players on the roster as well.
Absolutely.
Kessler Edwards, we're not going to overlook some of the players that are there. Jeremy Sohan, but yeah, shout out Wemby though. I'm definitely interested in seeing what that looks like.
Facts. Very well said, man. And that's kind of what this article was alluding to. Like for the sake of the health of the league, that sometimes it's good for these really hyped players to go to the smaller markets just so those markets get attention too. You know what I'm saying? Because of all the jobs that'll be opened up, all the restaurants that'll be able to now have people eating before and after the game, all of the merch stores. The list goes on and on. Like
And that
these
is
players
Texas.
is yeah,
That is
absolutely. And it's
Texas.
in
So that's a
Texas.
lot
Come
of
on.
there's a lot of us out there down south as well. So I'm
Absolutely.
looking out
The
for
the
that for sure.
financial pull that these players have, they literally a business market to themselves. So
Right.
no,
Absolutely.
that's a fact. That's fire, man. Very, very dope. Appreciate you on that. So this is not without controversy though, because as the New York Post reports, Scoot Henderson, who's been killing himself for the G League Elite team,
Mm.
says that he should be going number one.
Mm.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think that man, hey, bro, you gotta have that confidence though. I'll start off like that. Shout out to the good brother because that's a very, very, very bold thing to say. That's a very bold thing for him to say because everybody gonna look at him like, nah, you gotta be out your mind. But at the end of the day, I think that I think stranger things have happened. For whatever reason, I've definitely felt like I've seen some people that seem like obvious standout picks. Like you go back to the draft with Melo,
Mm.
Darko Milicic getting drafted before him, at number 2. And we look back on it now and it's like, well, how did that even
How did
happen?
that even happen? Facts.
Right. But at the end of the day, yeah, honestly, I think he's bugging. I think he's bugging. But shout out
Mm.
to the brother because
Did you ever did you catch the game with him and when they played 2 games like last year?
I actually didn't. How did he look?
Mm.
How did he
Oh
look?
yeah, nah. The dude, school could play,
Who was
bro.
like
Like
that?
he's 100% like that. But
Yeah.
I don't know if he could go number one because he's a bit undersized. He's more like a 2 guard, but he got point guard size. He can pass a
Oh,
little bit, but he's more of a scorer at the one spot. You know what I'm saying?
okay,
And
okay,
he don't
okay.
really got the gun yet. He can shoot a little bit, but he's more like a driver slash a scorer. He could jump out the gym, bro, and he got a grown man's frame already. Like
Oh
he's
wow.
Aki, like he be doing pull-ups on the yard, bro. Like,
Oh wow. Nah, that's
but
tough. I definitely got to check out some of his highlights
nah,
after this.
they played 2 games back to back last year when Victor Wembanyama, his French team came out here just for like a little exhibition versus G League Elite, and
Yeah.
they went 1-1. Both of them won 1 game. Both of them was cooking, bro. But yeah, like
Yeah, I'm a
I,
def have to tap in because I'm a fan. I'm definitely a fan of just great basketball players, period. Especially at a young age, because that shows me a lot. Just the mentality, the IQ. To me, like something I've really started to stand on as I've gotten older is just how much of basketball is really mental versus physical. Because
very well said.
even what you got to do physically is still something that your mind is you're telling yourself to do and you're designated and thinking through You know, at the end of the day, like it's that balance. It's always that balance of physicality. Because I always been like, yo, how many 6'8", 6'9" guys are there in the world built just like LeBron, if not more than LeBron, but can't do nothing that LeBron does on the court?
Facts.
You
There's a
know,
whole
so it
nother
ain't.
level to it.
There's a
Facts.
whole nother level to it. That's your mind. That's your brain. That's the thought, the
Mm,
tactician that you put in play for you to make those
mm.
plays happen. So shout out to the brother. I'm gonna definitely have to check him out.
Very well said, man. Very well said.
Yeah,
And I would be remiss, brother, we talking about the NBA, if I didn't at least get you to, for a few seconds,
yeah,
broach the John Morant
man.
situation, man.
oh
Yeah. So,
man.
according to Hot New Hip Hop, John Morant sneakers were officially taken off the Nike website. And Nike is wondering whether they should cancel Ja's contract. He's projected to possibly be suspended for up to half of the season next year. Um,
Wow.
a lot of his sponsorships is wondering whether they should continue on with him.
Half the
What's your
season.
thoughts on the Josh situation? Yeah, half the season, bro. And Nike took his shoes off the website.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, bro. You mind if I? Would you mind if I smoke? Is that
Nah,
okay?
brother, go ahead.
Yeah, yo, cause I ain't gonna lie. This we gotta get into. Cause we gotta get into. This we got.
I think I'm gonna light up with you, brother. Let's
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it,
let's
man.
do
Let's
it. Let's do it, bro. 'Cause this we gotta get into because this John Morant
absolutely.
situation has so many different like ebbs and flows, bro. And there's so many different responses and reactions. Some that I feel like are overblown, some that I feel like have some truth to it. But
Mm-hmm.
the John Morant situation, man. First of all, I'm gonna say this: John Morant, right? Based off of what I understand and what I believe in, John Morant is another black male like myself.
Yes, sir.
And John Morant comes from an environment where there's a lot of behaviors that we can attribute to being impoverished, you know, being neglected and being overlooked and not valued.
Mm, mm,
And so I think a lot of context is missing in regards to why does this young man feel like he needs to have a gun on him, even in the scenario where he's having fun and he's enjoying himself. Not a scenario where he's in danger, not a scenario where he feels like there's violence that may potentially take place, but a scenario where he's just listening to music and chilling. And I will say John Morant has definitely accountability that he has to take,
mm,
for sure. It's all about being responsible. And I do think it was a very poor decision. But I guess what I'm getting at the end of the day, to me, when I'm understanding it from the perspective of how the system of white supremacy works, he's an athlete. There's a beautiful book written by William C. Roden, called $40 Million Slaves.
oh yeah, great book.
Great book. And it just speaks about uh, how athletes are commodified and just the business and how athletes are just a product. And in this scenario, his talent is so great, but the bottom line of the league is greater. And so as a result of, because when he got fined and got suspended the first time, it was attributed to conduct that was detrimental to the league and detrimental to the league from a financial standpoint, for sure.
1,000%.
1,000%. So at the end of the day, what it really comes down to is, as a black man, you're operating in a business that is owned, operated, and ran by white men, and you don't have the power, control, or leverage to be able to be autonomous and get on Instagram Live and have a gun if you want.
Mm,
You know, now we can debate about whether or not that's a smart thing to do, period. If anybody should be on Instagram Live with a gun, we could talk about that. But at the end of the day, while everybody's focused on, man, how he gonna lose that money from them white folks and how he gonna pass that up and pass up this opportunity that these, and I've been hearing a lot of that, and all I do is like I just try to take it like 50 years back, or maybe even 100 years back, or just I try to take it back to even Jack Johnson, as the heavyweight champion. He probably heard a lot of that, getting fined, for driving, speeding and whatnot, and just all other types of stuff that he was probably fined for, and just hearing other people like us who don't have that opportunity saying, man, how you gonna get that opportunity from them people and waste it, man? How you gonna have yourself looking bad? And I think when you zoom out, you just look at the initial setup, and the initial setup is he's a person operating in someone else's system, and he has to abide by their rules. And when he doesn't abide by their rules, he's gonna face those consequences. And what we're looking at, the same thing with Kyrie, when a lot of us disagreed with how the league treated him and disagreed with, how the Nets treated him. At the end of the day, we didn't have the power or the control to, allow him to. And this goes to the Negro League, right? This goes to like baseball, even how, the MLB was not bigger than the Negro League when it first started, and how the Negro Leagues were exactly where people were going to watch baseball. But once Jackie Robinson, broke the color barrier, and once these things happened, that shift of control, the ABA, I'm not even sure if the ABA was owned by, black players or black athletes.
Some of the teams was. I think the Brooklyn Nets definitely was.
Okay, there we go. So now we're just seeing how that lack of control and that lack of ownership puts you in these scenarios and, situations where at the end of the day, you balling for a contract, and you trying to ball for a contract, and you trying to maintain that contract. And to keep that contract, you got to listen to somebody else's rules, and you can't be your own man in a scenario like that. Very difficult. But
Very
yeah,
well
that
said,
was a lot. That was a
Very
lot.
well said. Nah, bro. Absolutely.
How do you? I really want to know how you feel about that.
Very similar to a lot of the stuff you're saying, man. Like, understanding. Listen, he's 23, and if we all ran down a list of all the stupid shit we was doing at 23 years old, this show would have to be 5 to 10 hours. You know what I'm saying?
He's not doing nothing. He's not doing nothing that nobody that
never did. Come on.
Yeah, he's not doing nothing that a lot of young brothers in Memphis, in Brooklyn,
right,
no matter where you go, are doing right now. And that's the bigger thing that we need to talk about is why
are we even engaged in that type of behavior? 100%.
He's not a basketball player that's just doing something crazy. This is a young black man that's doing
just somebody who's doing something in the culture. No, that's a fact. He just got the magnifying lens on him. So when he participates in the culture as so many others are, it looks crazy because it's like a lot of people who don't have that lens into the culture are like, what the fuck is this? But the bigger issue is so many young people feel that that's just the way they vibe out right now.
Right.
And that is a much more complicated issue that a lot of people don't even want to have the conversation about.
Right.
So I get it. He's completely a product of his environment. You know what I'm saying? And some people be like, oh, but his environment was a 2-family home and this and that, a 2-parent home, excuse me. That's a portion of his environment. The other portion of his environment is definitely the people he grew up with, his friends, the circles he's getting himself into now. He's still only in his 20s. Like for people to assume that everything he went through from 0 to 18 is going to be the entirety of how he needs to grow up. Nah, this young brother got mad more growing up to do, and he's gonna make a million mistakes along the way, and we just gonna get to see it because he is on a huge platform
under that spotlight, right?
But like you said, the flip side, he's on a huge contract with Nike. I think he also got a Doritos contract, or I guess that'd be Pepsi. So he got the Pepsi contract. He got the Nike contract. He got the NBA contract. You know, this was one of their marquee guys. A lot of people were saying Ja could be the face of the league. You know, that's a big weight on your shoulders when you the face of the league. You don't have free time. You know, you don't have a moment off. When you done practicing, you got to go do an interview for ESPN. You got to go do an ABC interview, a CBS interview, Fox Sports, Kosh Report. The list goes on and on. Like, he got them Beats headphones on. It's a guarantee you. That's another endorse. He ain't not wearing Beats for nothing. Like, they done cut a check. So the amount of corporate entities that now all feel they have the right to dictate how this man lives his day-to-day life is probably up the road and down the block, bro. Like, and that is the world he operates in as a businessman, he's like Jay-Z said, he's not just a businessman, he is the business. The amount of jobs that have come to Memphis because of him, the amount of, you know, new businesses probably being open, restaurateurs being able to finally put all their kids through college because everybody come to the game and go crazy. The amount of money that they've been able to make at the Memphis arena and all the surrounding areas, more the jobs, the financial opportunities, the list goes on and on. So I get how a lot of people could be like, yo, bro, you don't even fathom that you doing this will stop us from being able to have all these janitors. You doing this will stop us from being able to have all these people working the concession stand. You doing this will stop us from being able to put all these young black girls in these little jobs where they could get a little college scholarship, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a lot on your plate at 23.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's what he signed up for.
Yeah.
So if he's gonna play this corporate game, he's got to play it a bit more savvy.
Yeah.
He may have to adjust some of the people in his immediate circle just so there's more people that can honestly talk to him. Yeah. Because of everybody, I don't know his circle. Nobody does except him and his peoples. But if he doesn't have anybody in his circle to be like, yo, boy, like, that's fire what you doing, bro. But like, let's think of some other things we could do with our time right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, or like, if we gonna be out here turning up, it's like so many celebrities, they have the rule. You can't have no phones. You can't, like, there's no recording, no this, no that. A lot of celebrities, you walk in their house, you go to their car, you literally got to throw your shit in a lockbox. Yeah. I think just incorporating some of those rules just to make sure what they doing personally and privately stays personal and private. Even with the alleged situation of him shooting the 5 with the kid and the kid like, yo, he tried to pull a gun on me. Yeah. There's entirely too much leakage going out. And so just having a couple more people in his immediate sight for that to be like, yo, if y'all say the wrong thing about Ja, y'all will never see Ja again. We'll never bring y'all around to nothing. And meaning it, cutting people off. That's harsh to do at 23, but it's like that might be for the best. Just so he don't gotta feel like he can't have his version of fun, whatever he decides and deciphers that to be, without it condemning and causing so much of a ripple effect for so many people.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Absolutely, it does. And I think that all of it is absolutely valid. And going back to what you said about him being a little bit more savvy as well, like what it makes me think of is, you know, a lot can be learned on his part from Kyrie. A lot can be learned from Mahmoud Abdul Rauf.
Come on.
Right. And if you think about just once you take a stand, right? Because what's going on right now is I think he's just doing what he do. And that's it. And he's being penalized for doing what he do. Now, as Ja Morant, you can decide either I'm going to stop doing what I want to do, which, I mean, you know, I guess isn't hurting anybody, but in ways, I would say I don't think that what he was doing and what he does by having a gun out and just being very playful and fun with it, I don't think that that's constructive for other black boys to see.
Absolutely.
But what I will say is, going back to being savvy with it, imagine if, you know, Ja Morant flipped it and was like, yo, hey, listen, I'm losing money off of, you know, the NBA contracts and et cetera, et cetera. But if he flipped it towards black gun ownership, black legal gun ownership, if he was like, hey, listen, I take responsibility for the fact that me being playful with the gun, et cetera, was not a good thing. But that gun was registered. It's legal. I own it. I am a gun owner, right? And flipped it towards something educational. And I know this might sound like a fairy tale world, or this might sound like overly optimistic, but I do think that lessons can be learned and constructive, you know, there can be some constructive gains there, because if the idea is that you want to stand on your square and you also want to do it in a manner that is beneficial or can merit some sort of positivity, because you can also flip it towards, you know, um, the type of violence that we see in our community. You can flip it towards police brutality. You know, you can flip it towards just the idea of mass incarceration and how many brothers do get locked up for having illegal guns or getting guns illegally, right? Like, a lot of that can be changed even in terms of just responsibility, like how responsible somebody might be with having a firearm if they decided that what they would do is get it registered and have it legally. So like I do think that at the end of the day, like depending on where his mind
Where
is,
this goes, this could definitely turn out into a positive.
right, if that's what you're looking to do. But if you're looking to just, like, you know, hoop, play basketball and stay out the way, then all right, yeah, stop having guns on Instagram Live. You know, don't talk about no guns,
Just be
except
low.
that fine, and hope that you can get back in the good graces of these corporations. You know,
Yo,
but
just to be silly for a moment, what do you think bothered people more, the first clip, the gun or the naked girls in the video?
all of the above, bro.
Mm.
I just think that anything that black men do, like, is always going to look worse just because it's a black man, no matter whether or not everybody else does it. It just the context that we live in,
The amplified facts.
right? You know, and just the context that we live in as black people is always, you know, some sort of negative connotation when we're involved. So I think that, yeah, bro, like, you know, it's also, we can talk about self accountability, but people do all types of stuff. People do things. You can say that he has more of a responsibility because of the fact that he has this platform or whatever. But I think that that's a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo for, hey, we need to make money off this guy. And what he's
1,000%.
doing is going to stop us from making money.
It's gonna F up the bottom line. It's
Right.
gonna F up the bottom line.
You know, because I know that the moral argument is always, what about all of the little kids that are watching you and da 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 da. But you know, these same corporations, these same executives, these same folks don't care about us watching Power. They don't care about these little kids watching Stars. You think the majority of people watching Power and watching, you know, BMF and all of that are 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds? Like, nah.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Yeah.
not. It's 11, 12, 10-year-olds watching them shows every night.
Right.
Every
So,
freaking night.
right.
Brother,
The whole goal is
hold
to,
on one second. I need to switch the link. Let me send you a new link.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on.
Yeah, man. Man in America. Flatbush 2022. America. Who that? Young black man in America. Yeah. Chill. Young black black man in America. I get on that stage and I tear it up, but they say that I'm causing hysteria. No, they do not want me in them areas. Been feeling like they do not care enough. I don't know what you see when you stare at us. Hey, young black man in America. Hey, young black man in America. I got a soul and you cannot tame it. The love that I got, no, you can't attain it. You and me be the source of your entertainment, but you clutching your purse cause you think I'm dangerous. We in danger, then they want us extinct. This shit is deeper than y'all niggas think. But you want that Gucci, that Louis, that mate. Sheesh. I'm on the brink of losing my sanity, done with that vanity. I wanna vacate and chill in the canopy. Mad at these rappers be dealing with apathy. They doing drugs too casually. We looking for a new strategy. My niggas moving with word like they faculty, mass students instead of mass shooters. I move with that peace, but I'm past Buddha and we blast rulers. Y'all niggas rapping about silly things. I dance to y'all squares like Billie Jean. I've been smoking this weed since like 17. It was days where I thought it was medicine, but now that I'm older and keep my composure, I know that they told you I'm menacing. Well done. Let it sink, let it sink. You cannot stop my endeavors. They told me start applying that pressure. Wrongful eviction, that shit from my head up. Got on my back, now I'm chasing some cheddar. He ride as ever, I gotta do better. Won't settle for less, man. Send the address, we don't play with those stress. They try to get all the slaves in check. Now we slave for the checks. IRS for my mama in debt. I've been trying to get up out of this mess. I'm not no dummy, niggas die for respect. She just want me take some time to reflect. She tired of smelling that weed on my breath. Shout out mama, all she want is the best. Shout out mama, all she want is the best. Shout out mama, all she want is the young black man in America. I get on that stage and I tear it up, but they say that I'm causing hysteria. No, they do not want me in them areas. Been feeling like they do not care enough. I don't know what you see when you stare at us. Hey, young black man in America. Hey, young black man in America. Young black man in America. I get on that stage and I tear it up, but they say that I'm causing hysteria. No, they do not want me in them areas. Been feeling like they do not care enough. I don't know what you see when you stare at us. Hey, young black man in America. Hey, young black man in America. Who that? A man's impatient, a man's been patient. My hands been shaking, you tried to make it. They say they made you, you tried to break out, then they break you. Yeah, they bait you, that's everyday news. And that's what plagues me, and that's what plagues you. Too much pulpit, too much bullshit. I think my plate full on Miss America. Let me save you, let me save you. I persuade you to drop the fables and drop the labels and drop the Grey Goose. And after day 1 and after day 2 and after day 3, if that don't change you and that don't make you less distasteful, a little more graceful, a little more grateful, a little more thankful, a little more faithful.
Yeah, man, but definitely, just jumping back into what you were saying, you're absolutely right. It's a far more complex situation than the pundits on ESPN or CBS would make it seem. And I wish him and his family nothing but the best in the situation. I hope he, like we've been saying, just continues to grow savvy and moves and move with the talented gifts of and intelligence that got him in it, because you can't be a dummy and be in this position. So I do imagine that they'll figure that out. But yeah, let's 2 more stories, brother, and then I'm gonna got a couple more questions for you before you can get up out of here, if that's okay.
Got you. Absolutely.
Appreciate it, brother. Have you heard about the situation with the rapper Egyptian?
Nah, actually.
Okay. So just two seconds on this, and I'm gonna move on. So allhiphop.com, rapper out of VA, goes by Egyptian. He was starting to pick up a buzz in the YouTube streets, and had a couple dope articles written about him. But the long and short of it is, he shot his moms, shot his siblings, and then went on unfortunately a fatal high speed chase with the police in Virginia, and they ended up taking his life. Said some kind of cryptic things on his IG before he got up out of here, and kind of was like, oh, here's a comment. This world is full of nothing but pain and suffering. The burden I've carried on my heart has finally reached its peak. I will not be held captive or prisoner. I'd rather return to the source. Remember, please be careful and considerate of how you treat people. You never know what someone is going through or when their breaking point is. I've reached mine. This world is all a test. And like, if you go on his page, bro, like some of the stuff he would talk about was crazy, about like the monetary system and how, like, you know, it was all a game with the money. Like very, very deep. And you know, each of his videos was getting hundreds of thousands of plays, some even millions. And he had preset a video of his latest single, Be Free, to drop on YouTube. Then you know, committed the acts, and then the video came out, and so YouTube has now removed the video. But yeah, that was essentially what happened with the brother. And his music is fire too. Like, you know, he's definitely talking about some stuff in his music. He reminds me of an XXXTentacion type. You know, seems like a very troubled soul, but like super deep and intricate and really empathetic and caring of others, but definitely like a troubled soul. But yeah, just now, I know you don't really know too much about the dude, but just being an artist yourself, seeing how many of our people in this game trying to break themselves through to the next level can go through stuff like this. What is your thoughts on this? You being an artist, you being a young Black man, you being somebody who's aspires to touch people with your music, and yeah, us all going through pains and hurdles and ups and downs of life.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's yeah, bro, that's crazy. That shit is tough because you know, I think that there's a lot of trauma and conflict that we don't ever. Wait, you said that the chase was fatal, so he died in the car crash?
He didn't die in the car crash. Nah, he shot it out with them.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but it was a high speed chase in a crash before the
Yeah,
shootout.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I mean, it's giving me like shades of, I don't know if you remember, but there was like an 11 to 12-year-old who killed his mom because she wouldn't get him the VR headset. I don't know if you had heard about that story.
Nah, please inform us, man.
Yeah, nah, bro. Like a few months back, I actually think it was like later last year, going towards Christmas time actually. Um, Basically it was like an 11 to 12-year-old boy, maybe even a 10-year-old boy, who ended up, I don't know where he got the gun from. I think it might have been her gun or something, but he ended up killing his own mom because she didn't get him the VR headset that he wanted. So it was kind of reminding me of that just now. I think overall it's just an extremely unfortunate situation, and it's tragic, bro. And I definitely want to say rest in peace to, you know, the family that was murdered. I also want to say rest in peace to him as well. But yeah, I think that it's also kind of giving me like capital steez, just in the sense of just how like intentional it sounds like he was about going about, you know. And even capital steez situation, I'm always like open, kind of like I'll leave that open ended because I don't really know. You know, there's a lot there. But that being said, like, yeah, bro, I just think that that's an unfortunate situation. And yeah, bro, I need to, I think it's also a matter of, like you had said earlier, like with the John Morant situation, who you have around you. You know, like your support circle, your support system is extremely important. And you know, I also, you know, think about what might have been going through his mind. Like, why would you think to, you know, take away, if you was gonna go out of here, okay, but you decided to take everybody else with you, your own family? Like, was that a matter of like aggression that you had towards them? Was that you thinking that you had some sort of purpose, or like you believe that, you know, if you took them with you, they'd be with you on the other side, or like what was really going through your head? But these are all, you know, questions that we may or may not find out.
May never get an answer to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
They said fortunately everybody didn't transition. Some of his family members are just in super critical, so hopefully they
Oh
pull
wow.
through. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's the whole situation is just very sad, man. But
Yeah.
yeah, R.I.P. to him, and uh, best wishes to the family for real. Have you been keeping up anything with the situation with the 11-year-old and the 13-year-old that's missing from the Bronx and Harlem?
I actually haven't. I'm not even. I actually wasn't familiar with that situation. What's going on out there?
Yeah, so sadly, so this kid, so this kid, he's 13, Garrett, right? So the long and short of it is, this other kid named Alpha. Alpha was missing from school since Friday. Alpha goes to a middle school. Allegedly, they just let him walk out the middle school, and Alpha hadn't been seen since then. Somehow he links up with his 13-year-old friend, Garrett. They moving and grooving around the neighborhood. Nobody could really catch up to him. They go to Garrett's mom's house at 1:30 in the morning on Saturday. So this is Friday afternoon. Kid leaves school. Saturday morning, he ends up at his friend's mom's house. The mom says, "Yo, her son came in to change his clothes at 1:30 in the morning, beloved, 13, with an 11-year-old with him. 1:30 in the morning, he came to change his clothes. She let him change his clothes and bounce back out. She said they was going to get some food and go watch a basketball game.
What? That's
Unfortunately, it
so
was just reported
crazy.
a few minutes ago that they confirmed Garrett's body was in the Harlem River. CBS News had reported since earlier this morning that people had reported two bodies were floating in the Harlem River. But they confirmed Garrett's body because his parents came and confirmed it. And they underage, so they gotta wait for the family to confirm the bodies and stuff. But yeah, so CBS News reports now the search for two boys missing since last weekend takes a tragic turn. The family of 13-year-old Garrett Warren confirmed today, this evening, that police found their son's body in the Harlem River Thursday morning. Chopper 2 was overhead as police boats were searching the water near Madison Avenue Bridge. Police brought what we now know is Warren's body from where it was found on the Manhattan side of the river to the harbor unit on Randall's Island, and eventually to the medical examiner's office in Manhattan, where the Warren family identified it as Garrett. Now, mind you, this is a 6-year-old that they say, a 13-year-old that they say was over 6 foot tall, like 6'2", 6'3", so like had a bright future as a baller or something. And yeah, unfortunately, he's been confirmed gone, and there was two bodies floating. The other family just hasn't confirmed yet, but for all intents and purposes, if two bodies floating and one of them is one boy, it's very likely that he's the other one floating.
Yeah. I
Immediate
would like
first
to.
thoughts, man. First thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to. I'm definitely interested in what that autopsy is going to say. Um, Definitely interested in whether or not there's signs of foul play, because that's what that sounds like for sure.
They
Uh,
claim there was no signs of trauma or foul play in Warren's body at the time, but you never
that sounds
know.
like
They
bullshit.
could
That
do some
sounds.
more. Yeah, they never gonna tell you everything.
Yeah, that sounds like bullshit. That sounds like the family needs an independent autopsy. And I'm assuming these are two black boys, right?
Oh yeah, they picture right here. I don't know if you can see the shared joint. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, that's Garrett, and then that's Alpha right there, 13 and 11.
Yeah,
Crazy,
bro,
bro.
that's wicked, bro. There's a lot there to unpack, bro. I mean, first and foremost, as somebody who, and I'm sure you as well, was in the public school, public education system, NYCDOE. Um, you already know, like cutting school, leaving school, like if it was never really a hassle. Like I definitely going back to middle school, definitely done left school to do all types of stupid shit.
Mm,
Um, but I think that that's one thing in terms of just like how valued or how watched over and protected, like, we are when it comes to these environments and when it comes to these schools, um, to the point where he was able to just walk out of the school
Walk out the
and
school building, bro.
that was it. And then the second part of that, as the story unfolds, going to Mom Duke's crib at 13 years old, 1:30 in the morning, changing my
To
clothes with
change the
somebody else
clothes,
with me.
that
I
sounds
mean,
crazy. Like,
did she? My thing is, did she like recognize? Did she like acknowledge that that was him? And I mean, if you saying that apparently there's information about them going to basketball or watch basketball and going to get food,
that's what
then
she
I'm assuming.
said. And when they interviewed her, she was like, they was going to watch a basketball game and get some food. Like,
So that's what. So she seen him at 13 years old walk into her house at 1:30 in the morning with somebody else, and she
let him change
still
his
let him
clothes and
breathe.
let him breathe back out.
Yeah, so I think that's crazy, and I don't want to do too much on the moms because at the end of the day, yeah, at the end of the day, I just know accountability in these situations is always difficult to.
It's a little lacking sometimes, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's hard to speak to because you will get attacked, but you also got to keep it a buck, and it's just like this is the state of our culture,
Our
and I will
community
say,
right now,
yeah, and I mean, I'll say like for me, my mother would
bro.
never, but that's not everybody,
Come on,
and
absolutely,
that I think that's extremely tragic right there. And what's killing me is if these autopsies, and even if these autopsies come back 100% accurate and let us know what's going on, like figuring out what actually happened, figuring out like what took place between those hours that ended up, like where these children were this entire time. Like that's what I really want to know. Because we could be talking about, a serial killer, a kidnapper. We could be talking about somebody that's out here probably been doing this shit or been looking for victims, and isn't
organ
getting caught.
harvester. This thing could go so many
All
ways.
of that.
Like,
Right. But we're
never
not,
talk about how many kids get snatched in our community and get their organs harvested, bro. Like that shit is scary. But yeah,
so yeah, that's tough. But definitely rest in power to both of
rest in
them,
facts.
both of them.
Alpha and Garrett, man, gone
Yeah,
entirely too
Alpha and
soon.
Garrett. And that's crazy
Um,
too, because that to me, like I definitely not just because these are two black children. Yeah, we good.
yes, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
You said these are two black children was the last thing we got.
Yeah, I didn't. I wanted to say yeah, not just because these are two black boys, not just because these are two black children. I definitely feel like almost like I know them personally, but I always feel that way, but also because when you said the name Alpha, for me growing up in Flatbush and even playing ball by Ebersfield housing project, like in the park, it's a lot of the African diaspora, a lot of Africans out here, so I definitely know quite a few alphas. So
Facts, facts.
it's crazy to hear that. So that shit kind of that's there's a lot of elements there that are just definitely tragic.
Very heartbreaking. Very heartbreaking.
Yeah, bro,
Uh,
definitely want to send my thoughts out to the family because I know they going through it.
absolutely, absolutely. All right, King. One last story. This one is a hot button topic, so you can tell me if I'm alone on this one. But I do want to
Yeah.
talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, have you heard of the concept of male mitochondrianism?
Nah.
All right, cool. So what if I would tell you that there's been a school of thought for a long time that men leave more in a woman than just uh men can leave their DNA with a woman or a sexual partner more than just directly from their semen.
Okay.
Just from just busting off. What so
Like you
there's
saying
this
like kissing potentially?
I'm talking about having sex. But
Oh, you're saying
the
like more than, so not just semen, but other things as well.
will leave DNA with the woman. Yeah, that could
Okay.
potentially affect her future offspring, even if you're not the father of them.
Oh wow.
Right? So it's this concept called male mitochondrianism, and this is crazy. So time.com article, right? How previous sex partners can affect your offspring, can affect offspring. It's a long held belief and among animal breeders that purebred progeny are best produced by females who've never made it before. Anybody who's seen people who breed Brits, of course, we've heard about that. They want to get the virgins, whatever. So call it puritanical or ridiculous, but in breeding, it's been a long-standing practice, even though there's been no such science to back it up, allegedly. Now, however, researchers at the University of South Wales in Australia believe they may have finally found some evidence to give support to this scientific notion. Working with flies, Angela Crean, a researcher at the Evolution and Ecology Research Center, picked up on her mentor's work of looking at how male factors can influence offspring outside of DNA in his semen. The genetic test showed that even though the second male fertilized the eggs, the size was determined by the condition of the first male. The cool thing is that non-genetic effects we are seeing are not necessarily tied to fertilization itself. Cool or really disturbing, the implications of the study are that any mates a female has may leave some legacy in the form of physical or other traits that are carried in the semen, but not the DNA containing sperm that could show up in her future offspring from another mate. I'll leave it there, brother. But this thing blew my mind when somebody shared this with me the other day. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, you got to be a lot more, especially in this culture now where, we fuck for fun and we just, a lot of what we do sexually, we're hypersexualized, hypersexual people now. And we're just all about this, a lot of this sexually, sexual freedom, and a lot of these movements that are prioritizing, a hypersexual or just a sexual lifestyle. Um, I think that's really interesting because that speaks to being selective with the people that you choose to share your energy with, and being selective with the people that you choose to have those type of experiences with and be that intimate with. And I think we're losing a lot of that now. So it's very interesting to hear that. I'm thinking about like the ways in which that might manifest, like what that even looks like, like, you know, how the offspring exactly is affected by that. That's
They say
crazy.
like the size of the offsprings of the animals they were doing the test on was affected by the first mate, even though the second mate was the one that they could confirm was the father whose semen uh made the baby.
Yeah.
Like so, like physical, all type of physical traits of the children were dedicated, were not dedicated, but dictated by how the first dude was, how like this shit is
Wow.
crazy. This shit is crazy.
That's like imprinting, like
Mm-hmm.
leaving an
That's the
imprint.
that's the perfect word, bro. Like it's like you're leaving an imprint on somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, for all the Twilight fans. I remember I went and I watched Twilight one time. I watched like Breaking Dawn Part 2, I think, randomly. I ain't never
Mm,
watched not one of the other Twilight movies before I went, and they was talking about how big of a deal it was that one of them dudes imprinted on their daughter or whatnot. So I
Mm,
guess that was like a very big thing, you know. So
crazy.
that's what that's reminding me of right there. That's some imprints and shit right there. You know.
Nah,
Yeah.
that shit fucked my
Ray
whole head
J.
up when I seen it.
Yeah, Ray
Pardon
J
my
out
French,
here
but
first
yeah, this
type shit.
is crazy.
Absolutely, bro.
And like you said, like we live in such a like a just a comfortable and free culture. It's like you don't be thinking about stuff like that when you just out there in the world having fun, enjoying yourself. But then
Right.
it's like, dag, like
That shit's serious.
what yeah, that shit is creepy, especially when you see all the kids in the community that may have like developmental delays or this is wrong or that. It's like could there be like some crazy connect? It's like, bro, like you don't even want to think about
How deep that gets, yeah.
how deep that rabbit hole could go,
Right,
bro.
right.
But like you said, I think is the main takeaway is just is about getting back to basics, and you know what I'm saying, like having more of a guarded stance about your energy, your space, and who you let, like you said, share your sacred space, man, on both sides. Brothers taking care of their seed, guarding their seed, not just running up in every shorty just because she might, you know what I mean, seem like a nice night. And
Yeah,
yeah, man, just being safer and mindful all around. That's crazy,
absolutely.
crazy.
Absolutely. We need
Yeah,
it.
like yeah, yeah. But yeah, man. To flip back around, thank you for even engaging in this crazy uh
Hey man,
game
thank
with
you,
me.
bro, for having me.
Nah, no, but yeah, like quick questions for you though. If there was any producer you would want to do a whole album with, who would it be and why?
Oh man. It's a great question, bro. To
Y'all
be
get to
honest,
just lock in and do 10 joints.
to be honest with you, it's crazy because I don't even know. That's how
Mm.
true it is. Like the person that's coming to my mind. You familiar with Zavin?
Zavin,
Yeah,
nah, where's he from?
he's actually he's from the community from out here, you know what I mean? And he hosted jam session at Artichoke Pizza. Zavin Embry actually on Instagram. It's Zavin Plays, I believe. But he's a multi-instrumentalist. He plays piano, he raps as well, he can sing as
Mm,
well, you know, plays percussion, does loops, like makes beats. And I've just been to a lot of jam sessions with him where he's like created a lot of different vibes and brought a lot of different, you know, artists and you know, musicians who play different instruments together. And I've always said to myself that I would love to put something together with him. So
mm,
that's definitely a big up because that's somebody from the community that I definitely have had a lot of experience with just freestyling, going to the jam sessions, freestyling, vibing out, and just like recordings I have on my phone that are dope. And yeah, I've always thought that it would be awesome to create something with them. But as for like well known producers and whatnot, man, if I could, bro, Jay Dilla, bro. If I could bring
mm,
Jay Dilla back, if I could bring Jay Dilla back, bro, that's exactly who I would want to rock with. But if anything, I'd have to I'd say Pete Rock. I'd say Pete Rock. Shout out Pete Rock, man. I think
mm,
I think I'd be able to definitely, you know, do some damage with Pete Rock. Feel me?
mm.
Bring some great old school classic production, you know. Um, yeah, yeah, that's what
No,
I'm leaning.
excellent
I'm
answers.
sure I'm
Excellent
missing a
answers.
few. I'm sure I'm missing a few, but I definitely,
There's
hey,
so
I'm
many.
always open to work, bro.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Um, if there was one rapper you could collab on one song with, who would it be and why?
Man,
Dead or alive? Dead or alive? So you don't have to limit yourself.
yeah, nah. For me,
Mm.
it would have to be between. I'm leaning Rakim.
Mm.
I would love to work with Rakim, and yeah, bro, that's crazy. I really do think I want to say Cole. Like I want to say Cole because I've always definitely been a fan of Cole and just the way that he puts, like he makes his verses so just like relatable and just like
Mm.
human. It just feels human. It just feels like you just a person, bro. Like, yeah, I mean, I could relate to you, but
Mm.
for sure, I would definitely say the first person that's coming to my mind without me forcing it is Rakim right now. Yeah.
Fire. That's fire, bro. That's very fire. So what's up next for the musical career of Young Toussaint? Is there a new album in the works? What
Yeah.
what can we expect to see?
Yo, yeah, bro, man. I'm working on everything right now. I've always been aspiring to do more and just take every step, take the next step possible. And
Mm.
I'm definitely working on a project right now. I've been working on a project. I've definitely got projects that are, you know, ready. They're just not complete. And so
Mm.
I need to really and I just need to really lock in terms of just being more of a leader and just being more on top of everything that I do, being more pensive, being more tact, and for me, music videos, getting these videos going, getting like you said, the projects going, and just releasing, bro. Like honestly, that's where I'm at right now. I just want to release, like I just want to create, I just want to release, I just want to get out, and
Mm.
I just want to be active, bro. I just want to hit the ground running and just not look back, bro. I just want to keep it going, be consistent. Consistency is something I've definitely been working on in
Mm.
music and outside of music. So I definitely just overall just want to be successful and want to be able to help make positive change with my family, with my friends, people I care for, brothers like you, know what I mean, and just do the most that I can, do the best that I can to, be of some sort of constructive help for everyone, for sure.
Well said. Well said. One more question before you get out of here, brother. What's your thoughts on AI? Do you feel it's something that's gonna help or hurt the artist community?
Yeah, I'm scared as hell, bro. AI right now, from what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, is like it's on a different level. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but for me, man, I think in terms of like whether or not it'll help or hurt the artist community, I think it'll hurt the artists that are easily replaced by AI.
Mm.
'Cause I think the whole thing is AI is not a person. You know, AI is artificial intelligence. And so it can make, if you want some hits, it can make some hits for you.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, when you want music that's going to touch your soul, when you want music that, or when you want somebody that you can feel, somebody that
Mm.
you know, because what do AIs do? Like, even from what I saw with the Drake AI, they got like a Drake AI album. And like some of the songs I heard was like, whoa, how is that not Drake that really wrote that, bro? That's really an AI. That's crazy. But
Mm.
to me, at the end of the day, what is the AI doing? It's rapping in Drake's voice,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So at the end of the day, the human element is always going to be needed. Like the AI, I guess the AI creates its own voice, then maybe that'll be the wave, right? I'd be scared as hell I'd be scared as hell from that, bro. I don't want to hear no AI rapping. That should sound
Mm.
like a robot. It sound like some whole alien. You never know. But
Mm.
like to me, at the end of the day, that human element is something that you'll never be able to get rid of. And
Mm,
at the end of the day, we're human beings and we relate to each other and we need each other. So when it come down to it, you're always gonna want to listen to the soul in that voice. You know, you always want to be able to hear the inflection and hear just the mood, the energy that that person has. And that's really what we're drawn to a lot of the time. So AI might be able to produce the product that can be sold to those who are not really, you know, trying to get deep into their bag of music, but at the end of the day, AI ain't gonna touch no Donny Hathaway. AI ain't gonna touch no, Aaliyah catalog or Michael Jackson or Prince.
mm,
Like AI don't got nothing for none of that.
mm,
AI don't got nothing for the type of, you know, history that comes with Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh or KRS-One, Rakim, like I brought up earlier, or like all of the other, even if you want to go Biggie and Pac, AI don't
mm,
got time for that. It's
mm.
all history, it's all legacy, it's all like the story. That story is important. Where are these people from? What shapes their background? Like an Andre 3K, AI don't got nothing for Andre 3K. So I ain't really like, part of me is not really tripping, but part of me is also just thinking about how AI is going to be used to push a lot of humans out of things that, help them sustain their life.
Very well said. Very well said, man. I feel the same way. Is that um, like you said, the cookie cutters is out of here first, but then so many other things, like their goal is to eventually have it really take a huge chunk out of every sector. And so how does that look? Of course, that will lead to new jobs. So as long as people are staying up on top of new things, new ways to create, new ways to make beats, new ways to make music videos, etc. But you know, some may fall by the wayside in the process. But I guess to the
Absolutely.
victor will go the spoils, right? So
Absolutely.
it's always a contact sport. It's always a contact sport. But yo,
Yeah.
King, please let people know how they could reach you, tap in, your socials, what platforms they could check your stuff out on. Please, please, the floor is yours.
Yo, yeah. I mean, you can find me Young Toussaint on everything, most
Mm.
things. You can catch me on Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube, whatever it is, whatever you looking for, whatever you need, man. Young Toussaint. Uh, and I'll pop up, man. That's Instagram. That's everything,
Hey,
man. That's Twitter, and that's what it is, bro. So as for everything else, you can just follow me on any one of those platforms and
mm.
stay up to date as to what I got in the works and what I got coming, and we got a lot coming. So,
Might catch him on an Unruly or Brooklyn Wildlife stage or something,
oh
maybe,
yeah, yeah,
maybe.
yeah, absolutely,
Hey,
absolutely,
very
absolutely.
nice,
We'll have to
very
see what the
nice.
word is. Yeah,
That's beautiful. Yo, thank you so much for this interview, man. I greatly appreciate it.
all right,
Thank you
bro.
for following my crazy thought pattern through all these stories and
Hey,
dropping
nah,
gems
bro, it
and
ain't
giving so
crazy,
much
man. We
insight.
can't even. Hey, it ain't crazy, man. It's logical, bro. As long as the logic is there, you gotta follow. So, at
I
the end of the
appreciate it,
day,
brother. Thank you so
you're
much.
yeah. You also definitely are a very highly intelligent, highly articulate individual. You definitely have the critical analysis necessary to see through a lot of what's going on right now and just try to understand it to the best of your ability and then apply it in a way that works for you. And I definitely appreciate you for having me on the platform, bro. Like, feel me, this was a great conversation. It's always a great
Nah, this
conversation.
was
So
fire, brother. I
yeah,
think this was one of the best ones ever, man. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, brother, I hope we get to do it again soon, man.
absolutely, bro. All you gotta do is holler, bro. You already know the vibes.
Appreciate you, brother. Talk soon. Peace.
All right, bro.
Yeah, guys. I mean, are you not entertained? Are you not entertained, family? This has been an amazing, amazing experience. Shout to Young Toussaint, excuse me. Um, this has been great. Shout to all the amazing artists, producers, writers, entrepreneurs, people in education, people in finance, people in the arts, people in business. It's been so many amazing people that have been on the show so far. Take a swing back, listen to all the old episodes, share out your favorite ones, tell a friend to tell a friend. Twice a week we get to it. You know how we do it. It ain't nothing to it. It's your boy Phantom Fuego, PHANTM. But his ghetto point of view is just fine as well. And you guys are the greatest audience that a brother could ever ask for. You could be anywhere else in the world, but you spend your time here rocking and vibing. And I truly am humbled, honored, and greatly appreciative. See you soon, gang. Peace.